Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we'll be reviewing the what would you call it again, Mike?
A psychological horror.
Called Mother, which was released in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's an interesting but challenging movie.
I'll say. No. We'll talk about it a bit more later.
Yes, we will.
And about how, when, where, and whys and stuff.
Yeah, exactly so.
Okay, here we go. Written, produced by Scott Franklin and Ari Handel. Directed by Darren Aronofsky, I think, and written by Darren Aronofsky as well. Okay, pretty damn good.
Got it.
Okay, now, budget about 30 mil. Box office about 44, 45 mil. Yeah, don't know what it did in home media, so it's made some money, but maybe not heaps and heaps and heaps. But we'll talk about about that later. Now, main stars, really, I'm not going to go for everybody. You got Jennifer Lawrence, plays a woman. Javier Bardem plays a man, literally. Ed Harris plays another man. And Michelle Pfeiffer plays another lady, another woman.
Well, the order is Jennifer Lawrence plays the wife, and the other guy, the first man, is her husband. And I guess the man and woman, Ed Harris and are called just the woman and man, obviously.
Yeah,
or not in that order.
There's no names in this.
Yeah,
okay,
so
that's why I said man and lady.
Yeah, there are no names. Like no one says, "Hey."
Hello, Fred. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Smith. Yeah.
Most of the time they say, "Hey, you," or "Hey."
Not even "Hey, you." I don't think.
Or just they just don't really introduce themselves at all.
Yeah. Now, this film actually premiered in September 2017 at the 74th Venice International Film Festival.
Right.
Where it was selected to compete for the Golden Line, whatever the Golden Line is.
Right.
It was released in the United States on September the 15th by Paramount Pictures and grossed $44 million worldwide against a $30 million budget, like I said before.
Right.
Although it's received generally positive reviews, its biblical allegories and depiction of violence spark controversy. I won't say anything more about that till later.
Yeah.
However, I can't think of anything else to say before Sarah gets into doing her bit.
Yeah. Some people have mistook this movie. I think it's because they didn't bother. They either walked out on it and didn't really actually hear the whole story, or they get bored and they don't really hear the final. Stay for the ending to understand the full reason behind this movie.
Or they were too busy going to the toilet, going to the candy bar, making out the back row, and whatever.
That too.
All the other good bits you do during a boring movie. No, it's not a boring movie. It's just a hard movie to follow. That's all. I found that I was sitting there going, well, what's happening? Mm-hmm. And that I wouldn't say it was confusing, but it was very hard going for me.
Yeah, from the beginning, it felt like it was heading into a haunted house direction, but then it went to a different direction with other things that started occurring around the circle of characters.
So and if you don't pay attention, you're going to be saying, "What's going on? I don't understand this. What's this happening for?" Yeah, and in the end, it all comes together, a bit like an Alfred Hitchcock job. So there you go. Do you want to get in there and
might as well.
Yeah.
So the story begins. This woman who's totally burnt out of her face, is dying, dead, and then this man, husband, he places a crystal, a white crystal, onto a sort of stand, and suddenly this house that looks decrepit and old,
all came nice again,
in ashy, it turns all nice and pretty.
Everything.
And then we see a woman in her bed who wakes up and she wonders where her husband is. So she creeps downstairs. She actually goes outside. We see how she's wearing a nice negligee
or something.
Negligee. and he does a bit of a jump scare on her. Oh, not really a jump scare.
Well, the hell gig. Like,
Well, he doesn't do a jump scare. It's more like a boo. There you go. There you are, sort of thing.
He'd do a jump scare. Boo! Oh, he didn't know. He just came up behind her from the other room. He didn't hear him coming. So
He's a writer. I will say he is a writer, and he is he often writes in his book his office.
He has an office, study, whatever. Yeah.
And they're living alone, and she's trying her absolute hardest to decorate the house. It's very, what's the word that you describe? A fixer-upper. That's the word. Fixer-upper.
Yeah, your house was good, but it just needed a bit of tender, loving care.
Exactly.
And Mother, the lady at the house, was looking after the house. It was her job. But her husband was the creative type, doing his writing and stuff, and she was the one who was more hands-on, looking after the environment, if you will. Yes.
Yeah. One day, rat-tat-tat on the front door, a mysterious man, comes to their door, who says that he mistook their home for a bed and breakfast.
Now, someone said it was a B&B.
Yes, or whatever.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So he stays with them overnight, and we then notice he gets sick in the bathroom, and we see a cut in his stomach, or a cut in his chest.
Whatever, coming out. Yeah.
And we don't understand.
Can't remember.
Yeah. The husband asks him...
That's on his side. That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah. The husband doesn't really... He pretty much welcomes him to stay in their house without even asking his wife, which is a bit weird when you think about it. Anyway, the next day, man's woman, I should say, appears, and she gets invited in and stays with them again.
Hubby.
They're acting all lovey-dovey, and they ask wife, why isn't she and her husband haven't any kids yet? Man and woman have their own kids. They have 2 sons, I think.
Grown up.
Yeah, grown up. And they're...
Boy 1 and boy 2, no names.
No names whatsoever. Or they just call them younger and older, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, anyway, they stay, and they're actually really interested in husband's office and the crystal he has there. He says that he got it from... during a fire, and that was
the only thing that was left.
And that was the only thing that's left. And they're really starstruck by it. They just wanted to touch it
and feel it.
But husband refuses to hand it over to them.
No, it's mine, and get out of my office, sort of thing.
Yeah. During an let me see what happens. Oh yeah, I think the wife accidentally drops it. Yeah. Or both of them. Both
man and wife are up there, having a look around, and we're not supposed to be there. And they actually drop it on the ground, shattered into tiny little pieces as a crystal would.
Yeah, this upsets husband and demands them to leave the office. And
they get
wife
banished.
Wants them to leave the house. But in the end, he still keeps them in the house while he boarders up his own office.
Yeah, puts boards up there, nails and stuff. And shortly
after, the sons to man and woman appear, and and the oldest son is annoyed that he's been disinherited, and his youngest son is going to get inherit a lot of stuff.
Actually, the older son has found the will.
Yes.
And it looks like the younger son's going to get most of the goodies, if not all of them.
Yeah.
Because the older son is a real pain in the ass.
Yeah. They fight, and the youngest gets knocked out, and he bleeds out on the floor.
He bleeds out on the floor, yeah.
Then husband and man and woman, they quickly take the youngest son out to the hospital.
Supposedly to go to the hospital. Yeah.
We don't see them get into a car or anything. We just see them head out the door. We don't see them that anymore. And the wife boarders up the house, trying to make sure that the oldest son doesn't return. Of course, he does return, and he takes the will document away, or something like that.
Whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, we don't see him again. Then later on, husband returns, and he says to her that they're going. Well, he doesn't say anything actually. He barely even confides to his wife about his plans in this movie.
But they come back, and he said the boy died.
Yeah, and the boy dies, and they come back to do a morning theming.
Well, they came back because they had nowhere else to go, so they came back to the house.
Yeah.
And a few moments later...
Soon enough, more and more people start arriving, and they do some ridiculous, weird things, like go up to their husband and wife's bedroom to do you-know-what. Of course, she told them to get lost.
Get out of my bedroom.
Yeah, of course. And she notices some weird things happening, like people painting her walls and ceiling. And she says they were just there to help her, and she says, "No, I don't need help." And 2 other people were sitting on the kitchen sink, and she keeps reminding them that the sink is not stable.
You might break
they
it.
kept on breaking it, and soon enough,
did.
pipes burst and start flooding the place. Well, not flooding the place, just
he's
wetting
spraying
the place.
water on the place,
Anyway, she yells at everyone and tells them to get out. Of course, everyone leaves.
Other people keep arriving too?
Yeah, more people did arrive, and then she eventually asked them to leave. Then her husband approaches her, and she cries about how he's not doing, that he's putting her thoughts aside without even thinking, and she wants to have a child with him. They then get into start getting interested in one another.
And that's back into his writing and everything. And
and
he's
soon,
been inspired.
Yeah, somehow she's now pregnant, and because she can feel it without hospital.
Well, she knew straight away she was pregnant, which is really strange.
Yeah.
Well, it takes about 3 months. You know, girls.
You know, women. Anyway, this inspires him to finish his book.
Whatever book he's writing.
And he kind of writes it, and eventually he soon produces the documents after a couple of months.
Or whatever,
and he shows them to her. We don't hear the words. We just see pictures. We see him standing outside a old old Nash house, and then his wife's with him, and then next minute the place comes to life, turning into this beautiful paradise of sorts.
Yeah, anyway.
Then his wife starts crying and saying, "Oh, this is a beautiful work," and all that stuff. Then his publisher rings and says,
"It's a great book."
And she's confused. Like,
how did
she's just
she know?
He's just written stuff. So how can she know already this quickly?
So she's confused.
Yes, the news.
Was she the first to know or not the first to know?
Soon enough, she prepares a sort of double celebration. For his work and for their upcoming baby. And so you guys know the same room that the boys fought in, and that some blood was on the floor, and that blood she boarded up that floor, but somehow the blood keeps seeping through the carpet.
Yep.
Hinting.
Yep. So the blood doesn't go away. Hello.
Anyway, soon enough, some people, fans of the writer,
arrive,
and
it's right at dinner time too.
Yeah,
very
and he's really the husband's really thrilled about this. Like, he approaches.
We've read your book. We think you're wonderful and fantastic.
He goes on to explain that everyone understands his book and have different interpretations on it, and he feels thrilled that they're all loving his work. Of course, people start sneaking into the house and start causing. Well, I won't tell you what happens next. First it starts off with just a mother and her kid were going in there just to go to the toilet, and then we see a few people already inside the house, already trying to refresh themselves in the bathroom.
Yeah, and take things out of the kitchen and the fridge
people
and stuff.
start taking souvenirs and trash in the place. Yeah. Anyway, she starts developing weird feelings inside. She's been developing these feelings throughout the drama in this movie. She's developed these weird headaches or what.
Yes, she's been taking some sort of
she's
powder
been taking
stuff in
this
water.
Weird powder. We can't really figure out what it was. Doesn't matter.
Don't know. We thought, it's hallucinogenics maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, now that she's pregnant, she's I guess.
Actually, threw them away, didn't she?
Yeah, she threw them away because a lot of people would tell you cannot take any medication during a pregnancy, not unless you're prescribed by a doctor. Anyway, so soon enough, more people start coming into the house and breaking walls, stealing items, and
just trashing the place. And even the publicist
publicist got involved.
And she started killing people, executing people and stuff. And
we also see a bunch of people fighting in one room. Like, it was very very like it was like a battlefield. I
Yeah,
should
almost.
say.
Yeah.
And there's another room where you see a bunch of people worshipping. Like you see lots of pictures
Yeah,
of
candles and stuff, and people praying and stuff, and yeah.
you know, of her husband on the wall and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and this is where I thought, we've got an antichrist or something going on
Yeah.
here.
Then
no.
we see other people trying to help her, try because she's really getting injured, and
she's
some
also
people,
very, very, very pregnant at this point.
Yeah, at this point she's like
going into labour.
Yeah, and she gets mistreated by some of these visitors. Her husband tries to help her, and when he finds out she's pregnant, he takes her to his office so she can give birth.
And he
eventually,
locks them in there a bit.
Yeah, he locks them in, and she gives birth, and it's a baby boy, obviously.
He's cute.
And as she's
gooey.
as they're sitting together, he wrapped in whatever fabric, and of course, people outside the room,
They want to see the baby.
they want to see the baby, and they give gifts and stuff, and she says no. She knows deep down if she gives it to them, they'll no doubt what bad things might happen to it. She tries to keep awake all the time. Her husband wants to show them the baby, but at the same time, she refuses. And he says she explains to him, please let them leave. But he says that he can't because he only thinks about them before her. Obviously, I don't know why, but as we soon find out, we'll find out soon enough why. Soon enough, she kind of eventually gets drowsy, and soon enough, he takes the baby and he presents it to the masses. And the masses, she wakes up, watches them take the baby, and they begin to shuffle it back between each other, and soon enough the baby's head breaks. And
It's a sepsis neck.
yeah, and then we don't see anything. We just see the remains of the baby being eaten up by the masses.
Strange movie this.
And she gets annoyed. She takes a shard of glass and starts stabbing
people and stuff.
Getting annoyed. She then eventually goes into the basement. She takes a cigarette lighter that she got from the first man that came into the house, and she goes to the basement. There's a bit of a generator downstairs
and an oil tank,
she
petrol
then
tank.
breaks it open, and she takes the lighter. And she then sets fire to the entire house.
With everybody in it.
Everyone, including the house, the grounds, everything.
Yeah.
And we think
everybody inside.
Everyone's dead. But as it turns out, husband, is carrying his beloved, who's completely
burned up a bit, but still alive.
And she asks him who he is, and he says, "I am."
I am. It's I am I, he says.
And the only other person I've heard this term before is, the Creator, God himself. Anyway, he tells her that she is home, meaning she's Mother Nature, and the house represents Earth.
World. Yeah, now the penny drops right at the end of the movie.
Yeah. He then places her in his office, and she says that she has nothing more to give because even though he's there to create, his whole the whole purpose in life is to create and to give others. Well, he gives it all away to other people. I mean, she's annoyed, a little sad that she gives so much to him, and
she gets nothing back.
And he's always giving it away. And it's a bit sad when you think about it.
Yeah, at this point, he asks for her love, and she says, "Yes, I love you."
Yeah. He then,
this is a gooey bit.
Yeah. She then knows that deep down he wants something, and she knows it's her heart. So
I don't know if she knew that.
I think she knew. I think deep down she knew something that
he asks for her love, and he puts his hands through her chest and grabs her heart and
takes her at her heart, and
very nice.
And he breaks it open, and inside is the crystal. And he then places that very crystal on the same stand as I mentioned.
Well, the other one used to be that got broken by the people.
Then the whole place begins to regenerate and get a new glow, and soon enough
and the fire damage disappeared, and the grass got green again.
Yeah, and soon enough we find another new wife in the bed.
Well, no, her.
It's actually a new lady in the movie, because every single time this has happened, it's a new woman, but looks as similar in appearance.
Oh, similar, yeah.
Anyway, she wonders where her husband is. That's
what it was. He looked a bit different. Yeah.
Then we cut to the credits. Now I know what you guys are thinking. You're wondering what the
flying F this is all about.
Okay, I'll explain it to you guys in detail.
What's the word? Analogies and
it's
different
analogy.
things.
So you guys know, for those out there, it's not a Christian movie, and it's not a satanic cult movie either.
Think back to the Da Vinci Code, where they took some spiritual stuff and made a fictional book out of it, and then made a fictional movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's a similar sort of thing where they've taken a religious theme and contemporized it and put it into a local environment.
Right.
How's that?
Exactly so. So, I'll explain to you guys the details in this movie. First, we have the husband, God, obviously the creator, and Mother Nature, meaning she's the one who gets it in the nick in this movie. Every time a major disaster falls on Earth, we always seem to blame either God or Mother Nature.
Get it now.
You get why? Because every time we have a volcano eruption or a twister or a natural disaster, we are always blaming one of them. Or in this case, everyone seemed to worship God. Obviously, we have a lot of people who see God as a celebrity, you know.
Yeah, some do.
I mean, the amount of people out there, which is probably, apart from a few people who don't believe, there is like a very big, you know, fan base for God, obviously, when you think about it. Anyway, so those of you who may not believe that sort of thing, just so you know, there's a lot of fans out there.
I've got some notes here. In an interview, Jennifer Lawrence said that the film was an allegory and depicts the rape and torment of Mother Earth.
See?
That's what that was. And I represent Mother Earth, the JVR, whose character is a poet, represents a form of God, a creator.
Even though Mother Earth was just a depiction that we made up ourselves when you think about it.
And the man and the woman who came to stay there were Adam and Eve.
Yeah, and their sons, Cain and Abel.
That's why one son killed the other son. And they brought all the stuff in this movie, so how mankind was given everything and then we stuffed it up.
And as I said before, the house is Earth. And the people that arrived there are actually the human beings. There's a mixture of different people. Like there's some, some of them are skeptics, some of them are heretics, and others are like the war part I mentioned in one room, which could represent wars that are happening in different parts around the world, in different corners. That's the word. Different corners of the world. Like, it doesn't matter which war I'm referring to, it's not important at this point. The people painting the walls and ceiling, they represent people who are trying to help Mother Nature, even though Mother Nature in this movie says, I don't need help. Because, well, a lot of times, Mother Nature, as they often say in the commercials, Mother Nature needs a helping hand sometimes.
And we're screwing over every day.
And anyway, so the other people, like the ones who steal things and looking for, are trying to find their way to I guess, try to find a connection to God, even if it means taking something that will give them a connection to them. Right, Mike?
Something like that.
There are some people like that out there who are just looking for a connection to God and stuff like that. And, of course, there are the people who break the walls and stuff like that. I think those are people who are just naturally causing major disasters on Earth. And this could be the fault of the humans, obviously. Right, Mike?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then the part where she gets when she gets a bit offensive when her son gets killed by them, she gets all offensive and angry and starts hurting other people, and they take their anger out on her by hitting and slapping her and calling her names, which we often do ever so often when we often say angry things.
We're going to blame everybody else, and they blamed her for everything going on. And
they treat her rather rudely and stuff, and calling her horrible names.
I don't know why they do nasty things to him because a lot of people turned away from God. So they should have gone against him too. But whatever.
No, there might be a few people out there who are nasty.
He didn't get beaten up or anything.
True.
So yeah.
But again, this is not really based on facts or.
Oh, by the way,
fiction.
I've got another bit here. And they're talking to the guy who wrote it and developed the idea and everything.
Yeah,
he
the
said,
director.
The film uses a dream logic narrative.
Yeah, it's a dream.
No, a dream logic narrative. I didn't say dream.
Okay.
Of which he said, if you try to unscrew it, it kind of falls apart. It's a psychological freak out. You shouldn't over-explain it. And that's why I had trouble when I was going through. I was saying it doesn't make sense to me in the beginning.
I mean, if it did explain, like, as in, given the names of the people who were in the production, like, okay, name Adam and Eve. Well,
it didn't have names.
No doubt, if you heard their names, you probably think, now I see the picture. This is
good morning, God. How are you, wife, Mother Nature?
Well,
it would have been given this whole story away. So so
that's
why no names.
I think the whole point in this is to trick the audience to think that they're actually a married couple living on their own.
Weirdos,
a bunch of
starting a cult,
and
whatever. Yeah.
Getting the people the impression they understand the movie, and then by the final scene, we find out that he's actually the creator, and that's why he's been trying to create a paradise within the house and the environment they inhabited. And now that by the end of the final episode, not the end of the movie, we find out he's going to do the cycle again, which could mean another Earth, and then another. It could be another.
See if we're going to cock up again.
It might be a repeat of the same thing. Maybe he's trying his absolute hardest to try
that formula didn't work. Yeah. Try again.
Yeah, I don't know if throughout the movie he kind of doesn't acknowledge his wife as the most of the time. It's kind of sad when I think about it, and I think it's because Earth was made for the humans and for us and all that stuff, and her needs were not in God's God was not intentionally taking his wife's needs. He took them for granted, obviously. But the point of it is, it's her views and points were not really important. And I know that sounds sexist or whatever, but it sort of depicts that he likes to put his own needs above. Put her needs aside to help for other people, obviously. And isn't that what God always tells us about putting our needs against for someone else, all that stuff? Anyway,
let's come to production and stuff now.
Yeah, we might as well go into production. Preaching.
There's not a theological study at the moment.
No, I know, but there is many things like he's trying to.
I know what you believe, and I believe, but some of the people listening to us might not believe the same thing, okay?
Yeah, I know, but it just tells you that what kind of person he is, even though you guys may think he's a selfish,
self-obsessed, whatever. Okay, here we go.
Whatever.
Now, principal photography began in June 2016 and concluded in August 28th, 2016. Now, the cast first rehearsed for 3 months. So they actually did rehearsals for 3 months, going through the actions, so they could work out camera angles and stuff, which I never, you don't hear much about that in some of these websites and stuff. So they put a lot of forework into it before they actually committed to the production. So that was quite interesting.
I agree.
Here's something I picked up on. I made a mental note when I started watching it. I don't hear any background music. There was, but there wasn't.
Really?
Now, Mother was the first of Aronofsky's films without the involvement of composer Clint Mansell. It initially had a score composed by Johan Johansson, but after seeing the 90-minute score synced up with the rough colour film, they decided to go with no music whatsoever.
Well, it makes sense.
It
probably explains why
I think that
you got turned off by the movie.
No, the point, if you got constant dialogue and atmos, I don't think you need the music to create the atmos. So I think he did that part quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he created the feeling that you're there. You don't have, oh, let's break into a tune every 5 minutes. So you didn't need the special effects music or Atmos music or anything else. They just dealt with the dialogue, and there wasn't any quiet bits in it.
No, there wasn't. It was not meant to.
No, and that's the whole point. So he didn't need music for this one. I think it worked.
Yeah,
so,
I think.
he did quite well. Yeah,
I do think that if they did put music in, I think. There was always seemed to be something going on.
There was a song at the end of the movie.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, you cannot go without music.
No, during the credits.
During the credits. Anyway, I do think that the movie ended. Well, I did like the twist really well.
You didn't see it come. I was going through the movies and looking at Sarah saying, you know what, I don't understand what's going on here. And I go, am I missing something? I kept watching it. It was interesting, but it just wasn't ticking all the right boxes for me until it came right to the end.
Yeah. Also,
and then it all made sense.
Yeah.
So,
guys, that crystal that they dropped, that represents the apple to when Adam and Eve ate.
Quite possibly, yeah.
And
the forbidden fruit, they dropped it, they had it, they broke it. And
the reason he brought up
they threw him out of the office, which is eaten.
Yeah.
Ah.
You know the term, how in your office, whoever you are, guys, they would often say, your office is your sanctum.
Your inner sanctum.
Or your sanctuary.
Yeah.
Or something fancy like that.
And he barred them and he boarded it up.
Yeah.
And if
you actually read the Bible, you'll find out that God kind of locks everyone out
he locked everybody out of the Garden of
Eden. So no one gets a chance to actually go inside.
So he locked, but they got him later on, didn't they?
What?
Didn't they break in it later on? Somebody else?
No, that was someone else. But I think that...
he broke in with his wife.
Yeah, he broke in and allowed her to give birth to their son, which was Jesus, who got taken and presented to the people, and
he was killed.
He got killed.
Which gets back to what happened 2,000 years ago.
The devouring part, I should mention, that's more to do with the bread and wine stuff that we often hear about.
Enough. It's not a spiritual thing.
I know. I'm just telling them why he was devoured in the first place.
It wasn't supposed to be a horror movie. It was symbolical.
It was symbolic, obviously, and how some people depict. Like I think the Romans and the Greeks probably thought when they heard about Christianity, they thought they mistook our, the term when Jesus said, "This is my bread. This bread is my body."
Okay.
Yada, yada. They misinterpreted that.
This is not
sometimes.
a spiritual review. I know you keep going back to it.
Anyway, the other stuff like as I said before, you do notice a lot of unusual stuff in this movie, and it's up to interpretation. But as I said before, it's kind of interesting to watch the interpretation, but without going overboard about it.
Yeah. Now, what I was going to say, I'm not going to go for all the reviews. There's quite a few reviews here. It was mixed, primarily because some people didn't understand the movie, like I. And some actually liked it because it was a bit different.
It was, wasn't it?
Now, I will say a couple of stats here. Rotten Tomatoes had an approval rating of 68% based on 379 reviews. Normally, I get about 10. So it said, "There's no denying that Mother is a thought-provoking product of a singularly ambitious artistic vision, though it may be too unwieldy for mainstream taste." And that's why I think it didn't go very good at the cinema.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing people don't want to actually necessarily see, but you would think it could end up being a cult status movie, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
As I said before, guys, this is mostly interpretation, mostly.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there is a Mother Earth or mother or nature mother. I mean, that was mostly that's usually interpreted. That's just a human attempt at trying to explain how Mother Nature has a feminine touch to the earth, sort of thing. How when you look at it, Earth does have a bit of a feminine touch to it sometimes when you think about it. The beauty side, the nature side, the good, pretty much nature side, not destructive side. But as we've watched the movie, and as the house represents Earth, as I said before.
We trashed it.
And it sort of represents how the Earth gets trashed. Oh, I should mention that hole that there during the fight with Cain and Abel, there was some blood on the floor, and it kind of causes a hole. I think that was sort of a rift where it means the murders and deaths and other things become sort of ongoing, and that's why there was a hole in the ground in the floor, indicating that death and destruction was like continuing throughout the centuries, which is probably I mean, as I said in the Bible, in the fictional sense, it said Cain and Abel. Cain's crime was the first thing that kind of brought around the whole murder and killing sort of thing. Anyway, it's not important.
Anyway,
so go on, Mike.
I won't go into the other reviewers, but it's mixed. There's some reviewers actually thought, "Hey, this is great. This is groundbreaking," and other people said, "Load of crap. Don't understand it." So it's one of those sort of movies. So I'll look. I'll just go through.
Can you give us a few?
No.
I would like to hear one of the reviews.
There's got so much waffle on here.
Oh, well, I like to hear a waffle. A little waffling.
Well, I said I mentioned a good one here.
Okay. A little waffles can go a long way. Even if it means adding a bit of syrup.
Okay, here's something you might like. Writing for The Guardian, Peter Bradshaw gave the film 5 stars, which is, I think, he stopped rating. Darren Aronofsky's towering, outrageous film leaves no gob unsmacked. Gobsmacked. It is an event movie detonation, a phantasmagorical horror and black comedy nightmare that jams a narcosis needle right into your abdomen. Do you want me to go on trying to read this crap?
Black comedy. I never seen
this
as a comedy.
And stuff.
What words they use?
Another guy here, Ignati Vishal, can't say his last name, of the AV Club, gave the film a B+, saying the filmmaking ranks as some of Aronofsky's most skillful. See, a lot of the guys liked it, but just down the bottom here, you got guys like, I won't mention his name, one part early Roman Polanski, and one part pseudo Harold Pinter, and 2 parts apology from a driven artist, and none of it adds up. So there's a couple of things like that in there. So some people didn't get it, and I must admit, at the beginning of it, I didn't get it. I had to sit through the whole thing, and then it made sense. Still not one of my favourite movies, but I do appreciate what this gentleman was trying to put together. Darren was adventurous. It was something different.
Yeah.
And I think he's achieved what he wanted to do.
I think he ticked all the right boxes, even though for himself.
Not my sort of movie, but I can see he had good actors to make it come to life.
Yeah. And didn't drop too many Easter eggs in this production.
Well, you dropped the Easter egg bit.
I just meant, if they went ahead and said the man and woman were called Adam and Eve, we would feel like, now we got it. We're looking at a Christian type symbolism movie.
Now the point is, what he did was he left it, I think he deliberately left it a little bit vague like that, to leave us wondering what's going on.
Exactly, so.
To reflect on, his husband and wife situation, these people come to stay there and all the shit goes on and blah, 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 blah. What's going on here? And then you find out at the end of it, oh, crikey.
Yeah.
And when you sit back and look at how he's put it together, it does resemble The History of the World, Part 2. Now, here we go. Now, accolades.
Okay.
It goes on and on and on.
That's a lot of accolades.
No. But different film events and whatever. You had acting, lots of nominations. There were a lot of nominations. Honourable mentions, whatever that is, best production, whatever, won. Another one, Campy Flick of the Year, won. Best editing, 1. Trippiest movie of the year.
Yeah.
It's strange. 1. So they won a lot of thingies.
So
the best actress, Jennifer Lawrence.
So
1.
Mike, honourable mention and the nomination ones, they're like sort of second or third place.
Yeah, I know, but still, you got to get up. You got to get up there. You got rid of all the other crap below you, so you're on top of the pile. But it goes on here. There's probably about 20 or 30, maybe even 35 to 40 nominations.
Right.
Yeah, best pictures and other things, and best thriller film. Best horror film, whatever, best sound editing. It had a lot of good things going for it.
Yeah.
So I can't squash this guy for what he did. I don't like this sort of a movie, but I can see what he's done. I can see the amount of effort that's been put into create it.
Yeah, I do think that this movie had... I'm glad that there was no Easter eggs, but I was glad that it wasn't anything like The Invited, where it had... stacks of Easter eggs.
Yeah.
I swear, it would fill my Easter egg basket.
The bunny would have been proud of that one, Hogan.
Yeah, and I wish they could have just let the story tell itself without having raised too many Easter eggs.
This one, if you don't... Look, I'm going to say this is a thinking person's type movie. You cannot just sit there and be entertained by it. Okay? It's something you have to look at, focus on, try to follow the storyline at the end of it. All the pieces come together.
Yeah.
It's like a murder mystery. It plods along, and all of a sudden, he did it, the butler did it.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing. And the point is that if you're looking for a nice thing to sit back and have a cup of coffee or a couple of drinks and something, about a bowl of popcorn, I wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
But if you like good movies, you can give this one a go. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it was an Easter egg, but there were some certain words that they did that pop into existence. I mean, into the dialogue where, like, she was trying to create a paradise, and
she did use the word paradise, I think. Yes.
Yeah, and she even used the apocalypse.
Yes, we had apocalypse came in there. Yeah. I think it came,
yeah.
So a few little things come up, but you sort of skim over those. That's just words.
Yeah.
But no, they'll let the cat out of the bag a little bit here and there.
Yeah. Not too much, but just a little enough to get your blood
the fact
pumping.
that no one had names,
yeah.
that got me a little bit confusing. Well, man, what's his name? Harold?
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
man.
mother, wife was pretty much dumbfounded by the sudden appearance of these people, and her husband keeps her throughout the movie in the dark. Like, he tells her when she's not in the room, says, guess what? This thing's going to happen. That's going to happen. And she's like, what? You never even bothered to tell me? Goodness gracious me. What kind of marriage is this?
Yeah, I thought a marriage was going to break and she's going to walk out the door.
Yeah, there was an attempt that she was going to take her bags and leave and probably... I don't know what will happen.
Well, I didn't see a car outside.
No.
It'll be a long walk.
I mean, there was no... I mean, if you look at...
I didn't even see a car outside.
There was no car or carport or even garage for
there's
that
a house
matter.
there.
There was a house.
In the middle of a field with lots of trees. Very nice looking house on the outside.
Yeah.
Dotted on the inside, but both Mother Nature was fixing up,
Yes.
But yeah, no car, no truck, no nothing, no garage, no stables, no nothing.
Yeah.
And you get, okay.
Yes, and yet they were taking...
Shaggy.
And they took the youngest brother to the younger son to the hospital.
In what?
In
Ritual?
what?
I
didn't even hear a car when they... I mean, there was no point in explaining how man and woman arrived there. There was no explanation for how they disappear. I mean, all we hear is a rat-tat at the front door.
And someone's there. So anyway,
and then we see all these people starting to peer out in the darkness.
And they didn't have cars.
And they didn't have cars.
Yeah, okay. So when you start looking at these little things, no one came in cars.
Yeah.
They didn't what? I will walk 500 miles and I will walk 500 more. No, there's no cars.
Yeah, another thing, those people that were trying to help Mother, they're sort of the people who are trying to save her.
The tree-hugging hippies, guys.
No, I mean, not the tree-hugging hippies. I'm referring to the soldiers who were trying to save her.
No one's painting the walls.
Well, those ones who were trying to help Mother, even though she didn't need it.
Leave me alone. I'll go and do it. Yeah. Wrong colour.
Yeah,
whatever.
In that one's case, there were people that were trying to absolutely hard to help.
And the soldiers there, they're battling. They're trying to save the people. keep the peace there.
Yeah.
Just,
of course, they got blown out of the water because they're trying to preserve the earth. Obviously, there is a mixture of different people in this movie.
There's a lot of things going on in this movie.
I think that in some of the corners of the house, as you may well be aware, there are corners of humanity where people who give off the wrong impression about worshipping God and stuff like that, and they would just go out of their way and say do things that are unethical or ungodly.
Okay, fine. Okay.
I know. I mean, I know I'm going on a bit,
you're going to annoy some of your listeners.
But there is a lot of different types of groups in that movie that kind of gave you a different frame of mind of what kind of people, what types of people are out there.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to grade it now and different things?
I may as well. So,
you can go first.
Seeing as I know this movie before Mike did, because I knew right away what type of story we would be leading into and who these people are and where we will end up in the end.
And I did not read up on anything before I saw it, so I had no idea what to expect. I went in it cold, so I had no idea what to expect out of the movie. And I
told Mike a couple of times how to explain it to him, but he kept saying no.
Don't tell me, because someone tells you what's going to happen before it happens, and I don't want to know before it happens.
Yes. Anyway, so for plots, actors, and even though there's no character development so much,
we didn't need it.
Didn't need it because there was no point in character backgrounds.
What was God doing before?
The point of the man and the woman, because we don't know what Adam and Eve did before they were created.
When they knocked on the door, that could have been when they're not created.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. They constantly they telescope time inward, so the kids are Cain and Abel were already older.
I think that in this world, their house and the grounds, I think that this is the world to... I mean, while the rest of the world turns really fast, or not really turns really fast, for we know, throughout this movie, centuries or years pass really fast in the real world.
Millennia, whatever,
Yeah, and while husband and wife, they continue to live their live out their time there. Of course, when their son comes along, and that's pretty much around the
2,000 years ago.
Would have been whatever the year Jesus was born, and who knows?
About 2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
we don't know yet the year.
Yeah, and then when he dies, I guess Mother Nature. You heard about when the crucifixion happens, and then we had that. That's when the things like that. Storm happened, and got angry.
It got out of control inside the house.
Yes, that's one of the things.
Okay.
And then people started getting angry at Mother Nature for no good reason, because she has every right to be angry because she lost her son. Goodness sakes.
Anyway, you're going to grade it.
Yes, and the ending, which is another cycle, which is pretty cool. So, anyway, for casting, story, and the end of stuff, I think I would like to grade it 9 out of 10.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, some people may say it's really cryptic, but once you watch the ending, you get the final pieces in the puzzle, and you figured out that the whole story.
Yeah. Okay, me. Again, it's very hard for me to judge this one. I want to be fair, though. But, not my style of movie. However, I can see what the director, writer, was trying to achieve. I think he achieved it. We had 4 strong actors holding it together.
Yeah.
I think the whole worked. So I've got to give the guy credit for that.
Yeah.
I think he's insightful, and deciding to go without music where other people say, "Oh, put some background music in it." Now, he said, "No, let's leave it stark and naked with music. Just go by the Atmos noises and the dialogue." I think it worked. So this guy, what's it, Darren? Darren.
Yeah, Darren.
Wow, Aronofsky. I can't pronounce that name without looking at the paperwork.
Yeah.
Darren is a very talented man. And I think this is a movie worth seeing. Again, and I say not being disrespectful to anybody, but I think it's a thinking person's film,
Yes.
which you have to sit down and watch, and not say, "Oh, I'm going to go to the toilet and put the coffee on." No, sit down there and actually watch the thing and try to understand it. And then when it comes to a head right at the end of the climax, it all comes together.
Yeah.
If you've missed bits of it, it's going to go, "What, huh?"
Yeah, if you kind of walk out on a movie, you miss the finer points to the production.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, you can't say, "Oh, I saw a bit of it, it's really good." No, if you walked out at the beginning, halfway through, you say, "I didn't know what was going on," so I left.
Yes.
No, watch it. You can get a rental. It might be on stream it somewhere. You can get it through Amazon Prime. You can rent it there. They've got some for sale there as well. eBay's got plenty for sale.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I would give it a go. It's a good, serious, psychological horror drama thing. Yeah. It's not an action thriller, so it's not a slasher. You want that sort of thing, you look at the wrong movie.
And it's not a satanic cult movie either.
No, it's not a satanic cult. It felt like that at one point. These people, I thought he was going to be an antichrist or something or other, but I was wrong.
Yeah, I think the point to this movie, even though he's God and she's Mother Nature, we didn't need a devil to appear in this production as a whatever. But I think it's the humanity was meant to be the evil.
I've got a theory about that.
Would you say that?
Yeah. There might be a devil or a Satan. I'm just getting on my high horse now. But for you people out there who believe in God, God gave us free will. We're doing quite well with our own problems without the devil getting in. He's probably sitting back there rubbing his hands saying, "Good, they did it again." Yeah. So we don't need him in the mix. We're doing quite well without him stuffing everything up.
I think that the most point is the humans are the ones who
we're at
crack
fault.
up, or we
everything
trash
and
everything.
We
break
make the
things and
walls
we don't
stuff
we don't fix it.
We rape nature. We rip up.
I mean,
forests
it's
and
like
stuff
what you
and
said here. This movie is about raping Mother Nature instead of making it better.
Pollution, ecological problems, hunting animals to extinction.
That's probably one of the reasons
all
why.
That good groovy stuff we do.
Throughout the movie, she was drinking this liquid, and I think it was preventing her from getting funny inside.
I don't know that part. I do not know what she's supposed to be doing at that.
Yeah, well,
don't know.
Yeah, but who knows what Mother Nature...
Fertilizer. I got no idea.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
I did like the posters they put together for this movie. Like one of the ones reminds me a little bit of Black Swan, another production that this director created not too long ago.
Yep.
Which this one makes me think of the old Renaissance pictures that get pixelated over time, and you have to fix it up with putty and stuff like that. The other one comes off as a bit more of a Salvador Dali type, with its woman standing in the center, flowers and plants around her, and her heart kind of torn from her chest. Even though that's a dead giveaway to the fact that in the end she gives her heart to her husband.
And her love is to go help build a new world.
Yeah. Even though it might have the same problem.
Well, I have the same ending. Yeah. And this was not the first one, because he said that crystal came from a previous
marriage
or unity, and that could have been one of several dozen. Who knows? Yeah.
I mean,
whatever.
He doesn't learn.
Anyway, getting back to what I said before, you can get on eBay, you can buy it. Amazon, you can rent or buy it. Do you want to say goodnight now, Lucy? Whatever.
What was your rating for it?
Oh, sorry.
I was talking so much, guys.
Yeah, you're talking so much. I forgot. Honestly, I mean, I'm not going to bag it because I can see what he's doing. It's good quality production. Just because I don't like it, that style of movie, but I'm not going to take it down. I'm still going to give it about 8.5.
Yeah.
Everything else works, but like I said, it's got to be a thinking person's movie.
Yeah. It takes a lot of time and
a bit of grey matter.
a little bit of take the time to actually see this movie before you make harsh judgments.
Yeah,
even
and
if you try to think that it's unfair that his way of treatment of her this movie is pointless because he continues to
he's concentrating on mankind.
Continues to.
It's a 2-hour movie, so if you want to do something like have a pee, cup of coffee, do it before the movie starts.
Yeah.
Okay? And get the popcorn already made up and have it on the table ready.
Right.
Not halfway through it, okay?
Right. Yes. So, guys, give this movie a chance. I said before,
I would. It's not bad. It's done well, and it is a bit different.
As we both said, it's not a Christian movie. It's not a satanic cult.
Not a satanic one. It's just.
That's roughly what we're trying to say.
It's a mind-jarring one.
Thriller.
Yes, well, it's a supernatural horror. Well, no, it's not horror.
Yeah,
drama,
supernatural
thriller,
doesn't come in to cover it.
It's psychological horror. I think.
We do see when in one scene or a couple of scenes where she places her hand on the wall and she's
feeling the
heart to the house.
Yeah. I mean, I think, what the hell is this all about?
Yeah, see, the heart at the beginning is a red heart, but by the end of this movie, it goes all grey and black, and
like it's dying.
It's like the earth is slowly decaying
and
because
of what we're doing to it.
We're doing to it.
Anyway,
so that's roughly Mother for you.
That's a mother of a movie.
Yeah, even though I like the symbolism. I like the
it is different.
It's different, and I like the fact that it's different than any other movies that deal with God and reality and stuff.
Yeah.
It's different from Bruce Almighty, even though that's a comedy horror.
In a comedy, yeah. You look at things like recent spiritual stuff. Well, okay, that Noah movie they made a couple of years ago with what's his name?
I think it was
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
No, that was a different take on it.
Yeah.
I didn't like the storyline. That was a good movie, but it's just a different take on things, and it's just a different sort of movies. Hey, Da Vinci Code, again, that was a spiritual movie. It just took a bit of spiritual stuff and threw it in there and just made a fictional story up, and made a fictional movie. So that's all it was. Yeah. But this is what it is. It's not spiritual. It's not satanic. It's just a psychological thriller. There you go. That's psychological horror. Yeah.
But as I said before, guys, I'm trying to explain or try to work out exactly how each scene plays a part in this movie to explain it, even though it's not supposed to be factual. It's supposed to be on a symbolism fantasy case.
Symbolism, allegories, and different things, and it just goes on and on. It's interesting. Anyway, do you want to say goodnight, Gracie?
Yes, sure thing, Mike. So that's Mother. So be sure to check it out and let us know in the comments what you think of this movie, and give us a good commentary on this movie.
Yeah, well, some feedback, because this is one of those weird type movies that I don't know whether you're going to like or not.
Yeah, you may have different opinions about this movie, but bear in mind, it's not going to always be a factual movie. You're going to have to expect the odd movie that will have no explanation.
Well, even biodramas aren't factual.
Yeah, true.
They padded that a little bit.
They padded out a bit.
So you can't actually say, that biodrama about Alfred Hitchcock, They won't be like Hitch, yeah. Now, that's based on a period in his time, but how much is real and how much is padding for the movie?
That's true.
You don't even get real then. So
I mean, how much of that story is factual, and how much of it may be made up by the directors or scriptwriters. Anyway, so that's it for us tonight, guys. As I said, let us know in the comments and on this movie, and let us know what you think of it. So, see you guys around. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Margle.
See you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye.